Welcome to a new deep dive. Today we're cutting through the noise to really understand a platform that's become just absolutely central to the internet, Reddit.
Mhm.
We're going straight to the source, pulling insights directly from their Q2 2025 earnings call and their detailed Form 10Q filing.
Yeah, the primary document.
Exactly. Our mission for this deep dive is to equip you with the most important nuggets of knowledge. You know about Reddit's recent performance, its strategic direction, and its surprisingly unique role in a world increasingly shaped by AI.
It really is unique.
You'll get surprising facts, a clear picture of what's truly driving their growth, and a strong sense of what's next for this often misunderstood giant. Let's get you well-informed quickly and thoroughly.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's jump right into the big picture. Reddit just closed out a truly remarkable second quarter in 2025. It really feels like a pivotal moment for them.
It does.
From your perspective, what's the headline financial story here? What stands out most?
Well, what's truly fascinating here, especially, considering Reddit's past, is how these financial results underscore a profound shift in their business model. They're not just growing, they're transforming their balance sheet. This quarter marks their most profitable quarter yet,
Wow.
which is a huge turnaround from previous losses, and it really signals a focus on sustainable revenue-generating growth.
That's a huge shift. So give us the key numbers that tell that story of transformation.
Absolutely. So their total revenue just exploded, growing 78% year over year to hit $500 million.
That's 78%.
Yeah, that's their fastest quarterly growth rate since 2022. And daily active uniques, or DAUq as they call it,
DAUq, right.
saw an impressive 21% jump year over year, reaching 110 million globally. And that's with strong growth in both the US and internationally.
Right.
And that profitability, their adjusted EBITDA, which, is a common measure of core operational
So
profit.
before all the financing stuff, yeah.
Exactly. Before interest, taxes, depreciation, it surged to $166.7 million. That's up massively from $39.5 million just a year ago.
That's a huge leap. So we're seeing revenue soaring and profitability finally arriving.
Yeah.
What about their cash position? Are they building a strong financial foundation?
They absolutely are. Their net income came in at a healthy $89.3 million for the quarter.
Wow, from a loss before.
A dramatic improvement from a loss of over $10 million in the same quarter last year. Exactly. And on the cash side, they generated $111 million in free cash flow this quarter.
And that's cash after investment.
Yeah, that's the cash a company generates after covering its operational costs and investments. Year to date, they've pulled in $237 million in free cash. So that shows real financial muscle.
Okay.
And a big part of this newfound liquidity also comes from the $600 million they raised from their IPO back in March 2024.
Right, the IPO proceeds.
And they just renewed a $500 million revolving credit facility, which acts kind of like a flexible credit line, giving them even more financial flexibility moving forward.
Those are undeniable turnaround numbers. Really strong. And diving deeper into why they're seeing this, it's clear Reddit's leadership, specifically co-founder and CEO Steve Huffman, sees a massive, almost existential opportunity. He explicitly said, quote, "The world and the internet are rapidly changing, and I believe Reddit has a once-in-a-generation opportunity."
Strong words.
Yeah. How does Reddit view its unique position in this rapidly evolving digital landscape, especially, with the rise of AI everywhere?
That's really the core of their strategy right now. Huffman's point is that in a world increasingly dominated by algorithms and AI,
It is.
the value of genuine human conversation and connection is just skyrocketing. Reddit identifies two key user types: 50 million scrollers, just browsing their favorite communities.
Yeah, they're casual users.
And 60 million seekers who are actively looking for answers to specific questions.
Okay.
And crucially, a recent survey they did found 80% of users believe some questions only humans can answer, not AI.
That's fascinating. And here's the kicker, the stat that I think makes Reddit truly unique.
This is the big one.
Profound Data cites Reddit as the #1 most referenced domain for AI across all models, all of them.
Yeah.
What does that incredible fact mean for Reddit's long-term competitive advantage?
This #1 reference domain for AI isn't just a fun fact. It's arguably Reddit's ultimate competitive weapon. It's their profound moat, if you like.
Right, a barrier to entry.
Exactly. In a world where every large language model, every LLM is just ravenous for training data, Reddit's vast, constantly updated corpus of human-generated conversations is pure gold. It gives them unparalleled leverage in the AI economy. It's an irreplaceable, authentic data set that very few other platforms can match.
That makes sense.
And this ties directly into their user-base growth strategy. Globally, their daily active uniques hit 110.4 million in Q2. That's up from 108.1 million in Q1.
Steady growth there.
Yeah, and while the U.S. accounts for 50.3 million DAUq, the rest of world grew significantly to 60.1 million, so international is key.
And it's interesting to note that the user mix also plays a role in how they think about their growth, right? That distinction you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. About 55% of their global DAUq are logged out users.
55%, that's a lot.
It is, and they often come in directly from search engines like Google.
Right.
These users generally have lower engagement and lower monetization rates compared to logged-in users. So growing that logged-in engagement is a key goal for them.
Got it.
They're also getting more precise with how they measure DAUq, trying to weed out bots and things like that to ensure we're seeing a clear picture of their truly engaged human audience.
Okay. So to really capitalize on this unique opportunity, Reddit has clarified its product strategy.
Yeah.
They're making some tough choices, even deprioritizing a few initiatives, including our work on the user economy.
Yeah, that was notable.
What does this signal about where Reddit is putting its focus, and how might it reshape the platform for users and maybe developers?
That's a significant strategic pivot. By deprioritizing the user economy, things like tokens or direct user payments, maybe, Reddit is essentially saying they need to double down on what truly drives their core value.
Which is?
Improving the fundamental product experience, making Reddit a go-to search engine itself, and aggressively expanding internationally.
Focus, focus, focus.
Exactly. For the core product, it means moving away from what they called heavy-handed onboarding for new users.
Yeah, I remember that could be a bit much.
To a simpler search box-driven approach, making those crucial first impressions stick. They're betting that a simpler, more intuitive experience focused on content discovery will drive engagement more effectively than, say, direct user monetization features right now.
That makes a lot of sense, especially when you think about how many people land on Reddit from a Google search looking for specific information, like real human answers. And here's where it truly gets fascinating, especially with AI. Reddit is leveraging its vast human-generated content in really innovative ways. Can you tell us about some of these new AI-powered products?
Absolutely. This is where things get interesting. They demonstrated Reddit Insights, which is their new AI-powered product for brands.
Okay, for advertisers.
Yeah, it allows companies to tap into Reddit's conversations for deep market intelligence, trend spotting, understanding sentiment.
Sort of like listening at scale.
Exactly. One client was apparently so impressed they called it their, quote, Super Bowl ad next year, which, speaks volumes about its potential impact.
High praise indeed.
Then there's Reddit Answers. This is their LLM-powered search feature. It grew from just 1 million to 6 million users last quarter alone.
Wow, big jump.
Huge jump. And this is designed specifically to provide broad and varied viewpoints on subjective questions by tapping into the entire Reddit corpus. Like, what's the best travel backpack? You get real opinions.
So they're building AI features, but they're building them on the human content. It's not just generic AI.
That's the key distinction.
How are they integrating these, and what's the impact for advertisers? Because that seems crucial too.
Right. So they're unifying the core search experience with Reddit Answers, making it a single front and center feature accessible immediately when you open the app.
So it's right there.
Right there. Users get the best of both worlds, traditional search results and these AI-generated summaries pulling from actual human conversations.
Okay. And for advertisers?
For advertisers, this content is a goldmine. They've introduced conversation summary add-ons for ads.
What are those?
They directly integrate positive Reddit user conversations into the ads themselves, like showing snippets of good reviews or discussions.
That's clever social proof.
Exactly. And it works. They reported over 10% higher click-through rates than standard image ads because it feels authentic.
Because it is authentic.
Precisely. And they're also launching Reddit Pro, which offers AI tools for businesses on the platform to help them, like generate profile bios or cross-post interesting community discussions to their own profiles.
It sounds like all these innovations are truly fueling the advertising engine then. What do these strong ad numbers tell us about Reddit's value proposition for advertisers right now?
Yeah, the ad business is clearly a bright spot. The total active advertiser count expanded by over 50% year over year in Q2.
50% growth in advertisers.
Yeah, huge increase. Their strategy is all about driving performance across different objectives: awareness, clicks, conversions, and improving usability for advertisers, making the platform easier to use. They're making ongoing investments in their ad models and formats, which is leading to higher click and conversion volume, and importantly, better return on ad spend for the advertisers.
So the ads are working better.
They seem to be. Features like dynamic product ads, DPA, are showing, quote, really nice return on ad spend. And automation features like auto bidding and something called memorable AI for creative testing are making it easier for advertisers to get results efficiently.
Streamlining things.
Right. They even created a dedicated global accounts team now to service larger customers on a global scale. It really highlights Reddit's unique value to advertisers who are looking for authentic, multiple viewpoints and lived experiences for product and service recommendations, helping people make informed decisions quickly.
And speaking of global, international expansion is clearly a massive strategic pillar for them. How are they executing on that? What's the plan?
This is a huge push.
Yeah.
Machine translation is now live in 23 languages.
23? Wow.
Yeah, effectively unlocking Reddit for millions, potentially, in Asia, Europe, Latin America, places where English wasn't the primary barrier before.
Right.
They envision this as a growth flywheel.
A flywheel? How does that work?
So the idea is translation and marketing bring new people in. Then, localized content and improved app experiences in their language deepen the relevancy, make it feel like they're Reddit.
Okay.
And then, recruiting skilled local moderators helps create stronger, self-sustaining communities in those languages and countries.
So it builds on itself.
Exactly. Early results are promising, they said, especially in Europe, with strong growth noted in countries like England, the Netherlands, and France this past quarter.
From a financial angle, what's the long-term play for this global reach? Because you mentioned earlier, monetization isn't always immediate in these new markets, right?
That's true. Financially, the goal of international expansion is first to grow their daily active uniques, just get more people using Reddit globally, and then ultimately increase the average revenue per unique, or ARPU, across the board.
Got it.
So while monetization rates in these new international markets are currently lower than in the US, this investment in localization and marketing is designed to build a vast, sustainable user base that, over time, can contribute more significantly to their overall revenue and profitability. It's really an investment in future growth.
Okay, that makes sense. It's a long game. Of course, any growth story like this comes with its own set of challenges and continued investments. What kind of investments are they making, and how are they balancing that with this newfound profitability?
Right. They're not just coasting. They're continuing significant strategic and tactical marketing investments, both in the U.S. and in those international markets we just talked about.
So spending money to make money, essentially.
Pretty much. They mentioned these investments were a few percentage points of Q2 revenues and are expected to continue through the second half of the year. They plan to adjust the spend based on traction, user retention, the returns they're seeing.
All right.
But the fascinating part is that despite these investments, Reddit's incremental adjusted EBITDA margins were 58% in the quarter.
58%? That's really high.
It is. It's well above their own long-term target of 50%. So this really demonstrates that their core business model is strong enough now to allow for profitable growth alongside this strategic investment. They can do both.
That's impressive financial discipline.
It is.
Yeah.
And looking ahead to Q3 2025, they're projecting revenue between $535 million and $545 million.
Which is still very strong growth.
Yeah, that represents 54% to 56% year-over-year growth, and adjusted EBITDA between $185 million and $195 million. That's roughly 110% to 110% year-over-year growth on profitability.
Wow, doubling EBITDA year over year. Those are strong projections.
Yeah.
But as we look ahead, every company faces hurdles, right?
Absolutely.
What are some of the key risks and challenges Reddit has acknowledged in its own filings in the 10Q that listeners should be aware of?
That's a really important question because no growth path is entirely smooth. It's good to understand the potential headwinds.
Right.
For instance, Reddit's success relies heavily on users continuing to contribute valuable content and on the efforts of its volunteer moderators.
Paid moderators, yeah.
Exactly. Any decline in content quality, maybe due to problematic content getting through or issues with moderator burnout or retention, that could significantly impact the platform's health.
That makes sense. What else?
Then there are the dynamics with search engines. We mentioned logged out users coming from Google.
Right, a big chunk of traffic.
A huge chunk. So if Google changes its algorithms significantly, or if features like Google's own AI overviews start answering questions before people click through to Reddit,
That could hurt their traffic.
that could be a headwind, definitely. In fact, they even mention a recent securities class action lawsuit alleging they made misleading statements about Google's potential impact. So that's something they're navigating.
Okay, so search engine dependency is a risk.
It is. Competition is always intense too, of course. Reddit is battling for user attention and advertising spend against, tech giants with massive resources.
Sure.
Monetizing those logged out users effectively and scaling monetization in international markets where ad rates are generally lower, that remains an ongoing challenge. And like any big tech platform, there's the constant risk of software errors, bugs, cybersecurity attacks, especially now with attacks potentially leveraging AI themselves.
That's a scary thought.
It is. And the misuse of user data by third parties, particularly scraping content without permission, maybe for training other AI models, is a constant concern they have to actively manage.
Right, protecting their core asset. And what about the internal structure? You mentioned the IPO. How does their corporate governance affect things?
That's a unique aspect of Reddit. They have a multi-class stock structure,
Meaning?
meaning different classes of stock have different voting rights. This concentrates voting control significantly. For example, CEO Steve Huffman holds shares representing approximately 74% of the total voting power as of the end of Q2.
74%. So he effectively controls the company's decisions.
Pretty much. It limits the influence of other stockholders significantly, something investors need to be aware of.
Okay.
And finally, a couple more operational things. Their business does have seasonality. Ad spending is historically higher in Q4, the holiday season, followed by a weaker Q1.
Standard for advertising.
Pretty standard. And while their cash position is strong right now, those ongoing investments in product, infrastructure, international expansion, they might require additional capital down the road, which isn't always guaranteed to be available on favorable terms.
Lots to keep an eye on then. Despite all these complexities, though, it's clear Reddit's leadership really believes in its core mission. They state their, quote, role as a community-powered platform for human connection is only becoming more critical.
Leaning into that human element.
Yeah. And their focus on building Reddit into the most human, trusted place on the internet.
Ambitious goal.
Very. So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Reddit's latest results paint a really compelling picture of a company transforming itself.
Definitely a transformation.
They've found renewed profitability, strong growth, by shrewdly leaning into their core strengths. That genuine human connection, the community-driven content, and now a strategic integration of AI that enhances both the user experience and their ability to make money.
It's a smart blend.
From AI-powered insights for big brands to making those human-answered questions more central to the search experience, Reddit is positioning itself not just as another social media platform, but maybe as a critical source of real perspectives from real people in this rapidly expanding age of generative AI.
A counterpoint to purely algorithmic answers, perhaps.
Exactly. Which leads to a final provocative thought for you to chew on. Given Reddit's assertion that its human conversations are, quote, essential for training large language models,
That key training data.
and that some questions can only be answered by humans, how will this increasing reliance of AI on human-generated data like Reddit's ultimately redefine our understanding of knowledge, truth, and maybe even expertise in the digital age?
That's a deep question.
And what does that mean for the long-term value and the very future of pure human interaction online? Something to think about.